If you've seen the headlines recently claiming that pasture-raised eggs are more inflammatory than canola oil, you're probably feeling frustrated and confused. Maybe you saw a tweet, a reel, or a headline screenshot that stopped you mid-scroll. Maybe it made you question your breakfast. You've been told that eggs are a superfood, one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. Now suddenly this scandal comes out and you're being told that eggs are actually packed with a very inflammatory omega-6. And this is exactly how nutrition confusion spreads. Here's the truth. The claim is technically true on paper, but it's not as black and white as the headlines are making it out to be. Today, we're breaking down the Vital Farms scandal properly. Not emotionally, not ideologically, but biologically. We're going to talk about why the actual amount of fat matters far more than the percentage, why ratios without context are meaningless, and why eggs are still the least of your worries when it comes to inflammation, insulin resistance, and your overall health. Because this egg scandal really isn't about eggs at all. It's about how nutrition data is being weaponized against you. The internet is currently on fire because a series of lab tests found that one brand in particular of pasture-raised eggs contain a higher percentage of omega-6 fatty acids, specifically linoleic acid, than a bottle of canola oil. On the surface, if you know anything about seed oils like canola oil, this sounds like a metabolic nightmare. We know that excess linoleic acid can drive systemic inflammation, increase oxidative stress inside your cells, damage your mitochondria, and interfere with insulin signaling. So when someone tells you that eggs contain more omega-6 than canola oil, your brain immediately goes into panic mode. But there's more to the story. When you see the percentage in the headline, you're not looking at the dose. You're looking at a ratio. A percentage tells you nothing about the amount of that substance you're actually consuming. And unfortunately, this same trick is used in clickbait science all of the time. It's like saying a single drop of lemon juice is more acidic than a gallon of soda. That statement might be technically correct in a lab, but it completely ignores the biological reality of exposure. If you're trying to repair your metabolism, lower inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, the total load matters far more than a percentage on a chart. And when you actually look at the total load, the egg scandal completely collapses. One egg contains roughly 0.15 to 1 gram of linoleic acid. 1 tablespoon of canola oil has 3 to 7 grams. That means you have to have multiple eggs in order to just approach the amount of linoleic acid that's in a single tablespoon of canola oil. And let me tell you, most people are unknowingly consuming far more canola oil than that in a day. It's hidden in everything. So this is not a close comparison. It's not even in the same category. Now let's go deeper because this matters at a cellular level. Your body uses fat not just as calories, not just as energy, but as signals. Omega-3 and omega-6 fats compete for the same pathways. When omega-6 intake is excessively high, it overwhelms those pathways and blocks the anti-inflammatory signals from omega-3s. Think of it like two people trying to talk into the same microphone. When omega-6 gets too loud, omega-3 gets drowned out. Over time, this of course contributes to inflammation, insulin resistance, and overall just poor metabolic health. But here's the part that most headlines ignore. When you're consuming these industrial seed oils, you're not just consuming omega-6. You're consuming oxidized omega-6, which, spoiler alert, is even worse. These oils are extracted using high heat, high pressure, and chemical solvents like hexane. They are deodorized because they smell rancid. By the time they reach your plate, the linoleic acid is often already damaged. And when oxidized linoleic acid enters your system, it generates oxidative stress that directly damages your mitochondria. Your mitochondria are the power plants of your cells. When they are damaged, your ability to burn fat collapses. Now contrast that with an egg. Even if that egg contains a higher percentage of omega-6, that fat is protected. It exists in a whole food matrix, surrounded by vitamin E, carotenoids, and antioxidants that evolved specifically to protect a developing embryo from oxidative damage. Your body is smart. It recognizes the difference. A protected fat from a whole food behaves completely differently in your body than an oxidized fat extracted into a bottle. And there's another critical factor here that no headlines recognized. Eggs are one of the richest dietary sources of choline. Choline is essential for exporting fat out of the liver. If you're worried about fatty liver, insulin resistance, or metabolic slowdown, choline is not optional. It's required. Eggs are not contributing to metabolic disease. They're actually helping to correct it. So why did the eggs test this way in the first place? Why did this scandal blow up? It comes down to supplemental feed. Even pasture-raised chickens often receive some grain or soy supplementation to maintain consistent egg production. Grains and soy are naturally high in linoleic acid, and the fat transfers into the yolk. Is this ideal? No, maybe not. The ideal scenario would be chickens eating 100% their natural diet: bugs, worms, seeds, and grass. But we don't live in an ideal food system. This is the reality. Even with the supplemental feed, eggs still remain one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. It's not just fat, it's not just protein. It's the complete package. High-quality protein, all the essential amino acids, B vitamins for energy metabolism, fat-soluble vitamins, choline for liver health. Comparing an egg to canola oil is honestly an insult. Canola oil has no micronutrients, no protective compounds. It is a highly processed extract designed for shelf life, not human biology. And that's why canola oil is still the villain here. It gives your body nothing except oxidative stress. Comparing an egg to canola oil is like comparing an orange to orange-flavored candy. One supports health and the other undermines it. Now we need to zoom out for a second because this Vital Farm story is not a one-off. This exact pattern keeps repeating itself in nutrition media. These headlines rely entirely on incentives. Modern nutrition media does not reward accuracy, context, or biological nuance. It rewards engagement. Outrage spreads faster than clarification. Fear travels further than explanation. And nothing generates more clicks than telling people that something they eat every day is actually dangerous. Eggs are the perfect clickbait, honestly. They're familiar, affordable, and widely considered healthy. So when headlines say, actually eggs might be worse than canola oil, it triggers an instant emotional response. We need to remember that a lab analysis is performed in isolation. Not in a human body, not in the context of diet, not alongside other food. Just a chemical breakdown on paper. Someone notices an interesting ratio, that ratio gets pulled and talked about out of context, and a dramatic comparison is made. And the nuance dies there. Because nuance doesn't fit perfectly into an article, into a tweet. It's too much for people to think about. These headlines are always black or white, but the reality is nothing is black and white. So if you're worried about eggs, I hate to break it to you, but you're missing the point. The real driver of inflammation isn't this popular nutrient-dense breakfast food. It's the industrial seed oils. Soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, cottonseed oil, sunflower oil. These oils dominate the modern food supply. They're in salad dressings, mayonnaise, sauces, snacks, granola bars, protein bars, almost every restaurant meal. They're cheap and they taste like nothing, which is why so many products and restaurants use them. Most people are consuming these oils multiple times per day. A lot of people at every meal. Like I said at the start, most people are having way more than 1 tablespoon of canola oil in a day. This constant exposure keeps fat cells locked in storage mode. It changes the composition of your fat tissue, and it makes stored fat harder to access. This is why so many people feel like they're doing everything right and they still can't lose weight. Why their blood sugar is slowly creeping up over time. If you want to reduce inflammation, your first priority should not be cutting back on your egg consumption. It should be avoiding these oils whenever possible. Here's a practical, no-nonsense protocol. Eat the best you can access and afford. And this goes for all foods. If you can get corn and soy-free eggs, that's amazing. But if not, standard eggs are still extremely nutritious. Focus on big wins. Stop stressing about 1 gram of fat in an egg while consuming 30 grams of industrial oil at dinner, and choose whole foods over extracts. Your body understands food the best when it comes with the whole package, not when one part of it is isolated. And this is especially true for these industrial oils, which, like I said before, are extremely sensitive to heat, light, and air, the exact processes they have to go through. And remember, consistency over perfection. In an ideal world, everyone would be getting their eggs from backyard chickens. The reality is grocery stores, budgets, and busy lives. Do not let perfection sabotage progress. Eggs are not the reason you're feeling inflamed. They're not the reason why you're not seeing progress. They're affordable, they're filling, and they support metabolic health. They help stabilize blood sugar, reduce snacking, and support insulin sensitivity. This egg scandal is overblown. The real problem is our food system, but we're not gonna fix that overnight. So like I said, just make the best choices you can as often as you can. If this video helped you, you might wanna check out this one next. It's on 3 protein mistakes that could be raising your insulin.